Pahali was sitting on the balcony, the warm breeze of Bangalore carrying with it a sense of quietude. She had just moved to the city 5 months ago, away from the hustle of Delhi. Adjusting was slow, and the absence of familiar faces only made it harder. She looked up when she heard a voice. "Hi, I'm Chahat," said a young man, slightly hesitant, his words faltering just a bit as he introduced himself. Pahali nodded politely, her curiosity piqued. "Hi," she replied. "I live on the second floor," Chahat continued, then corrected himself. "I mean, my parents live there. I live in Bangalore, though." He caught himself again, laughing nervously. Pahali smiled. "I know." "How?" She hesitated, then answered, "Pictures. Our mothers are Facebook friends." Chahat nodded, a little surprised but not entirely displeased. "I see." The conversation began to flow in fits and starts. He asked when she had moved here, and she told him it had been 5 months. Then he asked, "Are you from Delhi?" "Yes." "And you?" "I'm a developer at an IT company here," he said with a hint of pride. "Great," she said, nodding. "Yeah, it's fine. No major issues yet," he said, shrugging. His curiosity got the better of him, and he asked, "Do you write?" Pahali's eyes lit up, though she answered cautiously. "Poems. About life, in general." "Do you post them somewhere?" "No, I keep them to myself," she admitted. Chahat grinned. "I tried writing once. It didn't go well." "Why?" "There were only rhyming words and no meaning," he confessed. Pahali laughed softly. "Do your poems rhyme?" "Not always," she replied, "but they do convey meaning." "I'd love to read them someday," he said. Their conversation drifted, with Chahat revealing that he didn't have many friends in the area. Most of his Delhi friends had moved away, leaving him a bit lonely. "Is writing just a hobby for you, or do you want to make it a career?" he asked. "Maybe a creative writer," she said thoughtfully. "Good choice," he nodded. "So, how are you feeling after shifting?" "Getting adjusted," she whispered, then hesitated before admitting, "I don't know what else to say." Chahat laughed. "You don't talk much anyway." She countered, "You start talking to strangers like this." He shrugged. "Not usually, but you're my neighbor. That counts for something, right?" The evening wore on, and their conversation deepened. Chahat revealed he had been offered a job in Delhi but hadn't told his family yet. "If they find out, they'll ask me to come back. I like it here in Bangalore," he explained. Pahali hesitated but then shared something too. "The first time I wrote a poem, I was so happy. I even managed to recite it without stammering. But people didn't believe me. They thought it was impossible for me to do that." "That must have hurt," Chahat said softly. "It did. But I was proud of myself for writing those 4 lines. It felt like an achievement," she admitted. Their connection grew over shared vulnerabilities, laughter, and quiet moments of understanding. As Chahat prepared to leave for Delhi, he handed her a small diary. "This is for you. Keep writing your poems. Don't show them to me, though," he joked. Pahali held the diary close, her voice steady as she said, "Thank you." When the cab arrived, Chahat stood at the door. "See you," he said. "See you," she whispered back. As the car pulled away, she opened the diary, a small smile playing on her lips. She whispered to herself, "Maybe, someday, I'll let the world see my poems. But for now, I'll write for myself."